Hello, you're listening to Expert Opinion. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, if I remember correctly, I was talking to a coworker of mine, and he brings up some news they had just heard. And it was something like he asked me, do you think that if someone is repeating the words of someone else and there's like a racial slur, like the N word in it, is that wrong? And of course, I thought about this for a couple of minutes. I'm like, oh no, I don't really. My answer was, I don't really see a problem with that because, you're basically just trying to capture what the person said for other people to digest. So, and then that was all we talked about, and then I went home. But I looked this up on the news because I apparently he was talking about this Dr. Laura Schlessinger, and excuse me if I pronounce her name wrong. I'm not like a loyal viewer of hers. Never heard of her. I'm just gonna get this out there. I never heard of her until now. Like a lot of people, you don't really hear about them until they like screw something up or they do something ridiculously cool. So, anyways, I looked up what she did, and apparently this woman was doing one of her talk shows on the radio, and a black woman calls up, and she's just basically talking about her life living with a white husband, because her husband is white, and sometimes his white friends come over, and apparently they make jokes about black people and they ask her silly questions about black people. And the woman, the doctor responds something like, "Well, there's nothing wrong with them asking questions. You're just curious about black people." And then the woman says, the person who calls says, "Well, what if they use the N word?" And then I'm listening, and this woman, this doctor, just blows up, and she's like, "Well, if you watch HBO, you can hear young black comedians always using the," and she just, all of a sudden, there's this flurry of the N word. I'm not going to repeat what she said. I'm not going to capture. This is enough. You know what I mean? So, it was very different from what my coworker said, in the fact that it felt to me like she was egging this woman on at first. Or, you know what? Like, this is what it felt like. It felt like the doctor had some pent up emotion about this subject, and she finally got her chance to vent on it. It didn't feel really racist. It felt like she was venting, like opinion she made in her mind a long time ago. And here's my opinion on the whole situation, because I'm not gonna explain the whole thing, but she goes on to say it even more, and then to suggest that maybe if you can't take that, then you shouldn't marry out your race. And I'll tell you what, it was pretty bad. Near the end, I felt some racism. I'm not gonna lie. It was wrong what this doctor did. She should have been professional. I researched it a little bit more. I found out she had been doing this for like 30 years. She gave all types of advice, and she's a very direct person how she speaks. So I don't know if she was like doing it for views or she was like really venting, but regardless, it was completely wrong. How she talked. This woman was obviously calling for help, not to get belittled on a live radio show. Completely wrong. Bad on this doctor for doing that. That was completely unprofessional, and I still don't know why someone would even do something like that. She should have been comforting her, like helping her, trying to give her things to say or to do, instead of like acting on these people saying that. She should have told her ways to deal with it, you know what I mean? Instead of just getting angry about it and holding these emotions inside, because dealing with something like that is very difficult. But I found out later that she apologized, which was good, because she needed to apologize, obviously. and she left her radio show. She stopped after 30 years. Do I think she needed to do that? Well, I mean, that's up to her. Nowadays, in this day and age, you can't do something like that. Everybody knows that's wrong. To insult someone because of their race, it's disgusting. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying she deserved to go off the air, but I'm not surprised that that happened. The people spoke. That's what they wanted her to do. So my thing is that when you're doing something like that, when you're on the air, when a lot of people are listening to you and looking to you for advice, you got to be careful what you say. There is freedom of a speech in America, but at the same time, you shouldn't abuse that. I know it's cliche what I'm saying, but don't abuse that. Don't insult someone like that. It's just plain wrong. Anyways, tell me what you guys think. Leave a comment at the bottom of the page, and if it's good enough, I'll respond to it on my next show. Thanks for listening.